Let me tell you, you wouldn't believe the kind of Thursday morning I found myself living, and I swear. Sometimes life just throws you a plot twist you'd only expect in some feel-good movie. So there I was, Beckham Hayes. Yeah, that's me, the quiet guy behind the tech empire. The guy who likes his name not on magazine covers. Rolling up in my Mercedes to a tiny red brick elementary school called Westwood, rain still clinging to the parking lot. My mind more on quarterly reports than anything resembling a school play. You ever notice how the universe has a sense of humor? Because on that morning, I was supposed to just drop off a donation and vanish. No speeches, no cameras, just get in, do the right thing, and get out. Simple, right? Well, let me back up a sec. Principal Andrews. This lady in her 60s with pearls, so worn they looked like old friends, practically crushes my hand in gratitude the second I step in. She's saying my foundation saved the school. And I'm just standing there, stiff in my Navy suit, feeling awkward as hell. I mean, I'm good at boardrooms, not children's art lining the hallways. She walks me past doors where kids peek out. You know what I mean? So I hand over this check for 200 grand, trying not to wince at the principal's tears, just wanting to get back to my world of glass, steel, and predictability. But then, just as I'm about to leave, she asks me if I want to stick around for the annual talent show. I almost say no. My calendar is booked for the next 5 years. But something about her hopefulness, the way she's looking at me, I just say yes. And there it is, my first mistake, or maybe my first lucky break. I end up in this makeshift auditorium, nothing fancy, plastic chairs, peeling curtains, but parents everywhere with their cameras. And suddenly it feels more real than any black-tie charity event I've ever sponsored. Principal gives her welcome, and I'm sinking lower into my chair when I feel this little tug at my sleeve. I look down and, honest to God, this little girl, Ellie, about 5, blonde, blue eyes so big they could swallow you whole, is standing there, clutching this beat-up teddy bear, her hands shaking. I'm scared, she whispers. My mommy isn't here yet. What do you say to that? I crouch down, mumble something like, she'll be here soon. But you can tell she's used to disappointment. The other families are laughing, the whole place is buzzing, and this kid's alone. Teacher swings by, asks if I'm family. Ellie jumps in, he's my new friend, and suddenly I'm backstage. Letting this child drag me through corridors while her teacher just shrugs, grateful she isn't about to have a meltdown. And then she asks me, right there, to pretend to be her daddy. Just for the show. I freeze. This is way outside my comfort zone. But the way she looks at me, like it's the biggest wish she's ever made, I just say yes. Next thing I know, I'm sitting in the front row, trying not to look like a fraud, and when Ellie steps on stage in her blue dress, little tiara crooked, she's looking for me in the crowd. You know, launches herself into my arms, and says, this was the best day of my life. And man, that just floors me. Me, the guy with more money than time. Realizing nothing I own has ever meant as much as being someone's pretend daddy for a day. Her mom, Marissa, finally arrives, young, tired, working 2 jobs, professional stuff, and volunteer in Ellie's class. Her teacher is shocked, the kids even more so. One asks if I'm rich, and I tell them, yeah, but that's not why I'm here. I end up coloring with Ellie, seeing her special corner at school, drawings of dogs and boats, tiny dreams taped up for the world to see. She asks if I have a little corner, and I realize, I don't. My office is cold, my penthouse is empty. Everybody needs a little corner, she says, and it sticks with me. We start this routine, after school snacks. Walks to her tiny apartment with peeling paint and flowers out front, listening to Ellie chatter about neighbors and dreams. Her mom lets me in, wary at first. To diners for French fries and strawberry milkshakes, to the park on Sundays. I start measuring my success not in numbers, but in Ellie's drawings stuffed in my jacket. In the way Marissa laughs when I get my face painted like a reindeer at the school festival. And then, spring comes. I buy a house with a yard, a room for Ellie's art. Ellie shouts, we're a real family now, and calls me daddy, and I can't hold back, not anymore. You ever wonder what really matters? Because I spent my life thinking it was the next big deal. The next accomplishment, the next dollar. Turns out, it's a little hand in yours, a kitchen full of laughter, and the courage to rewrite your story. So tell me, what do you think? When does a stranger become family? When does giving become receiving? Share your thoughts below, because honestly, maybe we're all just looking for that second chance. Yeah, that happened. You ever think about how sometimes happiness sneaks up on you, right when you're not looking, like it's some shy kid at recess, just waiting for the right moment to step out from behind the monkey bars and grab your hand? That's how the next months felt for me. 1 minute, I was just a guy passing through. The next, I'm sitting in the bleachers of Westwood Elementary every Tuesday and Thursday, a regular among the moms with their coffees and the dads with their tired jokes, waving at a little girl who, honestly. But you know what? Life has a way of knocking down all your fancy defenses, one sticky-fingered drawing at a time. I still remember the first real winter storm of that year. Snow came down in thick sheets. The city felt muffled, soft, like it was trying to hush the world's sharp edges. I had Ellie in the back seat, bundled up in a coat so puffy she looked like a marshmallow. Marissa beside me, her face tired but soft in the bluish streetlight. We'd spent the whole afternoon at the school's winter festival, watching Ellie make a mess of frosting at the cookie table, her cheeks pink, her laugh loud and honest. For a second, the world outside, deadlines, family expectations, the empire I was supposed to keep building, just vanished. All that mattered was the sticky sweetness of those moments. After the festival, Marissa invited me up for tea. Nothing fancy, just chamomile in cracked mugs at a wobbly kitchen table, Ellie already dozing off to the muffled hum of cartoons in the other room. I asked about her old job. Maybe I shouldn't have, but sometimes the truth slips out before you realize what it costs. Marissa told me everything, voice low, words careful, about how the company my family owned cut her loose the minute Ellie got sick. You know that feeling when you see a fork in the road, and you realize the way you've been walking might not be the way forward anymore? I left her place that night and made a decision, maybe the biggest one since I started my business. The next morning, I cleared my schedule and started digging through every HR policy my company ever stamped. It took days, boardroom fights, a war of memos, but I changed things, real changes. Not just press release stuff. People got their jobs back. Marissa got an offer for a better position, fair pay, time off when she needed it, respect. Not a favor, not charity, just decency. For a while, I was afraid she'd say no. But she came to my office in her best blue blouse, asked tough questions, and finally agreed. On her terms, always. And slowly, things shifted. She let me in. A little more every week. She'd invite me over for spaghetti dinners and Ellie's bedtime stories. Sometimes, after Ellie was asleep, we'd sit on the couch, not saying much, just letting the TV fill the quiet. There's an intimacy in those silences that's louder than any confession. I could see how much she carried, the weight of single motherhood, the pride, the worry, but in those small hours, I hoped she saw how much I wanted to help carry it too. But it wasn't all easy. Yeah, that happened. Marissa kept her guard up. Sometimes, out of nowhere, she'd pull back. People like you, she'd say, don't stay. I got it. She'd been left before. I promised her, again and again, that I wasn't going anywhere, but I knew words only go so far. So I stayed. I showed up. I let Ellie cover my face in glitter at the school's spring fair, let Marissa see me at my silliest, my most human. And slowly, maybe she started to believe. Spring came fast, the city popping with color, parks bursting with tulips and sun, everything alive again. I knew I wanted more than just drop-offs and dinner tables, more than just friend of the family. So I did the only thing that made sense. I bought a house, with a yard for Ellie's someday dog, a room for her drawings, a kitchen big enough for all our stories. The day I planned to tell them, I was a wreck. We met in the park, Ellie in her yellow dress. Be a family for real. Ellie shrieked, hugged me so hard my ribs popped. Marissa's eyes filled up, but she said yes, and for once I wasn't thinking about risk or what could go wrong. Just the way her hand fit in mine. But right then, life threw its twist. Marissa's old boss, the one who fired her, reached out to threaten her new position, tried to scare her back into silence. I saw red. For the first time, I used every ounce of power I had, not for profit, but for justice. HR got the message. Nobody would ever threaten one of my people for being human again. A few weeks later, Ellie's class put on the spring play. She wore butterfly wings, said her line, "We can always change and become something beautiful," and I nearly lost it in the front row. After, in the hallway, with teachers, parents, everyone watching, I gave Marissa a ring and promised I'd never leave. She said yes, and Ellie called me daddy for the first time. I can't describe that feeling. It's like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. So now, our life isn't perfect. No story really is. Some days are hard. Some nights feel too short, but we're here. When the world is quiet, I think about how a stranger in the back row became a father, how a little girl's fear on stage built a family. But let me ask you, what makes a real family? Is it blood? Leave your thoughts below, because maybe, like me, you're learning that sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never planned for. If this story meant something to you, don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment, and let's keep this conversation about second chances and real family going, because sometimes that's all it takes to change a life.